We live in a world where everyone strives for a comfortable life, a life in which everything becomes easy. Everyone wants to live a successful and fearless life, but not everyone is willing to make the effort. The world today is full of so many new and different things that we all want to try and experience in our lives, but we're too afraid to take that one step out of our comfort zone. Trying something new and different can be fearful for many, but the people who face their fear instead of fighting with it always succeed. Let's for a moment go back in time and travel the road untraveled. Let's for a moment imagine our lives without taking a single risk. What would that look like? First of all, we would have never been able to learn how to walk for the fear of falling. We would have never been able to learn how to speak for the fear of making mistakes. We would have never been able to go to school for the fear of being in a complete different environment, away from the ones we've always been with. Most of us would have never been able to graduate from school, make friends, or even apply for a job. All this time, we just strived for comfort. A year and a half ago, I used to be a really shy kid in my school back in Pakistan. I never took part in any sports, in any extracurricular activities, or anything out of the book world. But time was about to change. I was about to change. I got to know about a scholarship program called Kennedy Lugar Youth Exchange and Study Program. This program is funded by the United States Department of State and provides scholarships to high school students from Muslim majority countries like Pakistan. This was a time when I finally stepped out of my comfort zone and decided to apply for the scholarship. I went through a lot of selection process comprising of different tests, interviews, and important to mention the 11 shots that I received on my left arm. By last February, I got the finalist letter stating that I was selected among 104 other students out of about 6,000 applicants throughout the country. At that time, I started screaming with joy. I felt like life could not get any better, but I don't know what happened after a few days. I started feeling uncomfortable. I started feeling nervous. Considering that I was about to leave my own country, that too for one whole year, considering the fact that I never left my own city on my own back in Pakistan, was fearful. But this one time, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and face my fear instead of fighting with it. August 5th was the day when I finally arrived to my host family in the US. I still remember that first awkward meeting we had when I was thinking whether I should go for a handshake or a hug. And I remember stepping into their home for the first time, and I was thinking, how am I going to live with these people for one whole year? I don't even know them. This was my family back in Pakistan. I constantly thought that how will I live without these people who I lived with for 16 years? But I had to step out of my comfort zone. I knew no one in America, but I had to make communications, as that was the only option. I started doing things which made me feel uncomfortable at first. Let it be from trying American foods, like mac and cheese, to stepping on a roller coaster for the first time, or even ice skating and falling for the first time. It was an amazing experience that I have had until now. Things that which made me uncomfortable at first, now I'm comfortable with them. Now I'm okay with eating mac and cheese and trying new experiences. I still remember the first time I stepped on a roller coaster. It was fearful, my heart was just bursting, but I got over that fear. As time passed, now I was feeling comfortable with what was around me. Back in Pakistan, I was always afraid of speaking in public. I used to get nervous. I never spoke in public ever. As I told you, I was always in my book world. But when I came to the United States, I started to notice that that fear started to fade away. During the International Education Week, I gave presentations to more than 1,000 people in my host community about Pakistan and mainly about stepping out of one's comfort zone. It was an amazing experience. I learned a lot, and I learned about myself, that what am I capable of. We're often too afraid of taking risks. We see many successful people in this world, and like them, we want to be successful as well. But we often forget that success comes from failure. All of the successful people we see today have failed many times in their journey, but they never lost hope and kept on trying. For example, J.K. Rowling. Before there was a wizard, there was welfare. Rowling was a broke, depressed, divorced single mother simultaneously writing a novel while studying. Now one of the richest women of the world. She reflects back at her early failures as it is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might have not lived at all, in which case you fail by default. I believe that you fail 1,000 times before you succeed. But even to fail, you have to face that fear of failure. You have to fight with that fear. You have to overcome that fear so that you can fail early and then move on to success. You have to get back up. It is always good to look back at your life and say, I can't believe I did that, instead of saying, I wish I did that. It is always good to take risks and discover our own abilities and weaknesses instead of hiding behind our fears and wondering for the rest of our lives whether we could have done something or not. Thank you. This is Anwar.